God. I always psych myself out.
You can do it. I love you.
I love you. I love,
I love you.
I love you. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Dumb CreepCast, episode 7. Oh my God.
We're doing a follow-up My Little Pony episode. Now we're a My Little Pony channel. Wow.
A My Little Pony channel. Subscribe for Dumb My Little
Actually,
Pony.
I'm sure that could be its own genre. There are so many My Little Pony creepypastas out here.
Yeah.
So the one that we're doing today is probably the second most popular one, I would say.
What would you rank the popularity level of the last one?
That one is like the most well known. That is what people think of when they think of My Little Pony creepypasta. Because it was like a joke thing, it was on 4chan. This one's more so like a fan fiction kind of idea.
Right.
So it's like a little bit more, it takes itself more seriously.
Okay.
It's got more of a story.
I specifically said I was put off from ever doing My Little Pony content ever again. And somehow, immediately, one episode later,
Wow, somehow here we are.
we're doing it again.
Always comes down to us doing My Little Pony creepypasta.
Always.
Yeah.
So you've told me this one's supposed to be better than the last one.
I have a very like vague memory, or like a vague remembrance of me reading this story, and I remember like the major plot points, and I think the actual story is more interesting. I feel like I think I read this when I was like 14, and I have no recollection as to how it's written. I don't know if it's going to be written well. I just know that it's going to be more serious. I think I know a lot of people who think they like this one more.
Okay.
So.
Do you know which one came first in the timeline?
I believe it was Cupcakes, because that one came out pretty early on. I don't know what year this came out in, or where it was originally posted, but it's written by Aurora Dawn, that's the author. And yeah, I don't have anything else to say about it.
All right, thank you, Aurora Dawn.
Yeah, thank you, Aurora Dawn, for giving us this gem. I have a friend who loves My Little Pony. I remember they did fan art of Cupcake, like Pinkie Pie from Cupcakes, and one of the characters in this, like a romantic fan art of them. I remember that very vividly.
All right, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Are you starting? Am I starting?
I can start. I'll do the first little chunk here, and then the first big paragraph.
Okay.
Now, A Rainbow's Tale isn't quite as nice as the story we knew of Sugar and Spice.
Wow.
There's long been rumours as to how exactly rainbows are made in Equestria. While a great amount of Pegasi ponies are employed in the rainbow department of the weather factory, almost all of them do the low-end work. What's known as the great steams of spectra, the individual colours of the rainbow flow through large grates into vast vats. From there, workers carefully and equally mix the spectra into a coagulated rainbow pools that dot and run through the factory and surrounding city. Next, the mixture is pumped to the floor below, where other employees atomize it and store it until the active weather Pegasi deploy in-field.
However, no one knows how individual spectra is made. Supplies are never seen being brought in, leaving not even a clue what goes into a rainbow. Tourists, when visiting the factory, are treated to an extremely foreboding and plain wall, with massive solid doors barring entry to any pony at any time. While most of the facility's various signs and architecture is bubbly and welcoming, the Rainbow Factory's upper floor was protected by harsh imagery of potential hazards and death, and the cloud wall was not made out of the clean white the rest of the city, but a black, quiet, thundering fog. I'll say this is better written than the first one already, but there's still like all the little typos and things. I don't know how those make it through.
I think this is probably written by a 14-year-old, like without any editors.
Well, it's impressive for a 14-year-old.
Also, it doesn't mention here, but the Pegasi pony city they live in, it's made of clouds. It's called Cloudsdale. They don't like mention that here, but they say it's like a clean white. That's just because everything is like on a cloud, and only Pegasus can go up there.
So it's like heaven.
I guess, yeah.
Is there a split in class between the Pegasi
Yes!
and...
No! There was a distinct split in class between the Pegasi and the unicorns and then the Earth ponies.
Okay.
And it's kind of like, it's very much unintentional on Hasbro's end, but they have like a whole episode where they go into like how these three races had equality, and one of them don't get a really good bargain in the end.
Oh my god. That's awesome.
Basically, it's like Pegasus do like, they control the weather. They like serve as like the military kind of, and then like unicorns.
There's a military in My Little
Oh
Pony?
yeah.
Like with guns?
No.
What do they do?
They
Like
fly-
maul each other?
They fly. Yeah, they like kick each other. They like
Oh my
fly
god.
and shit. Yeah.
Are there episodes that show like war flashbacks?
Yes. My Little Pony like is a pretty cool show. I'm not gonna lie.
Wow.
No. And then like the unicorns kind of do like the high end work, and then all the Earth ponies are all farmers or like bakers. They do like kind of like the low end jobs.
Do unicorns have special powers that Earth ponies don't? Then?
Unicorns,
What do they do?
Unicorns have magic.
Ah.
Like they can use magic, like
Okay.
make things levitate and shit.
Wow. All right.
And Earth ponies they're just normal horses.
I didn't know the lore was so in depth. Jesus. All right. Moving on.
To become an employee of the Upper Rainbow Factory would mean sacrificing any life outside those black walls. Workers are sworn to secrecy and forbidden from leaving, and live inside the facility itself. Those few who ever managed to make it out not in a body bag were twisted and disturbed, too damaged to ever bring themselves to talk about it. A lot of theories were proposed. Dark magic from captured unicorns, chemicals and environmental hazards that no sane pony would tolerate, and even thoughts of another unknown sister of Celestia, destined to create the spectra instead of raise a sun or moon. None of them could be further than the truth.
But a rainbow's easy once you get to know it, with the help of the magic of a Pegasus device. We've got dialogue.
Ooh, so Scootaloo is like Rainbow Dash's like semi-adopted younger sister in
Okay.
canon. So why don't I do that voice?
Okay.
Because she's a little like whiny sounding little child.
You got it.
And you could do her little friend here called Orion.
What's Orion's deal?
I think he's not in the show. He's like an original character
Oh.
for the fan fiction. I imagine there's going to be a
Wow.
lot of that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just Scootaloo and Rainbow Dash who are the main characters from the show. I might be wrong about that. There might be other ones, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of original characters in here.
Cool.
Come on, Orion. We're going to be late for our final test. Scootaloo called to a friend of hers. She was older now, in her last year of flight school. She, like all other Pegasus in the school, were terribly nervous of the final test. Those that passed were granted freedom into the world to find their cutie marks if they haven't yet, and become working ponies.
A little known, or at least little thought about fact, was of what happened to the fillies. Fillies is like a type of horse, right?
Fillies is a young female horse.
Okay.
So you got a filly and you got a colt as a male young horse, like a baby.
Right. A little known, or at least little thought about fact, was of what happened to the fillies that failed their test. While uncommon, one or two from every class generally didn't have it in them to perform the rigorous acts and maneuvers. Those that failed their tests were looked down upon in the worst of ways, shunned and hated. Cloudsdale had always bred a form of nationalism amongst its occupants. If you weren't the best, or didn't show the potential of being the greatest, you weren't allowed to be part of the glorious collective. This is crazy.
This is like going a little bit more further in depth, but this does have like a little nugget of truth in
I
the
love
actual
this.
show, which I like a lot.
Yeah.
Scootaloo moved a little to the side as Orion, a tall yet fairly skinny pony, settled next to her. He fluffed his light brown feathers and gave a worried attempt at a smile as he stared around where he sat. They were sitting in a large open waiting room overlooking the Colosseum, with all the other graduating Pegasi. Just visible in the distance was the factory. Orion glanced at it and gulped.
No.
I'm sorry, I love the fact that the factory is capitalized.
Yeah.
That's really good. I love that a lot.
This is like really well done.
Yeah, I'm like
This
is like actually kind of sucking me in.
Yeah.
I'm like really surprised. I wasn't expecting it to be like this high quality.
I feel like if you put a different coat of paint on it, if it wasn't about My Little Pony characters, I'd be like, damn, this is a great fucking story.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's insane.
But no, I mean, it's great.
What's the matter, Orion? You afraid of getting a dead-end job on the snow line?
Orion chuckled a bit, then closed his eyes and sighed. No, it's just, I don't know. I don't think I can do this. What if I fail? What if I don't fail, but just do bad enough to still be disliked by everyone? I don't know if I can keep being... Oh my god. I don't know if I can take being deported, me IRL. Where do we even go anyways?
Scootaloo gave Orion a friendly punch. No one knows you don't, and we're not gonna fail. Everyone here is gonna be fine. I know I'll pass. She laughed. Thanks to the tips from Rainbow Dash, I'm sure I'll be fine.
Oh yeah, sure. That reassures me. Wait, is that sincere or sarcastic?
I'm sure I think it's sarcastic.
Okay, good. That's actually just as, if not more reassuring than the psychopathic hate everyone here seems to love to spread.
Quit panicking, scaredy wings, Scootaloo replied. The only one here I think even might fail is that yellow pony with the dark green mane. She's the one who was out sick for that month, you know.
Oh yeah, Orion remembered as he craned his head in the other pony's direction. The one who had that bad case of hoofwing. She looks pretty confident though.
I suppose we'll see, Scootaloo trailed, turning to look at the factory herself. It gave her chills. Not of fear, but pride. I hope I get some cool active weather job. Can you imagine? Everyone in Ponydale or Philadelphia staring up at me going, there goes Scootaloo, such an amazing flyer. And from Cloudsdale, there can be no doubt. She smiled in excitement, forgetting her tension for the moment. I'm sorry.
Cute.
I'm sorry, Philadelphia really got me.
Philadelphia.
I love that.
No, this is great. I like and is this weather shit like established in the show?
Yeah.
Do they
Yeah.
They mentioned clearing up clouds or whatever in the last one.
Yeah. So the Pegasi like control all the weather. So like they do that physically by like if there's clouds and they want it to
They
be
go
like
whoosh,
yeah,
like Superman turning the Earth around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they
Wow.
blast the clouds away or whatever.
Sick.
And they do actually have a factory in Cloudsdale. So this is like where they do like make rainbows and shit. So it's like
Damn.
you know, it's still Grenadier and canon.
It's just like expanded upon.
Yes,
I like
yeah,
that.
exactly.
I like that a lot. That would be something, I'll admit. Mind you, just coming from Cloudsdale, who wouldn't be in awe?
Exactly. Praise the flock.
Praise the flock.
Places. Oh, this is this is a massive buff Pegasus.
Places, every pony.
I love that voice. A massive buff Pegasus walked towards the entrance to the Colosseum.
We're gonna do this by name. Your adjudicators are on the east side of the field. Do not, I repeat, do not fly too far west. If they lose sight of you for any reason, you will be failed immediately. Take deep breaths. Stretch your wings one last time. The test will consist of 3 sections: weather clearing, agility, and finally, recovery. Clear the clouds, fly through the hoops, and then fly to the marked elevation. Close your wings for at least 3 seconds. Oh, sorry, there was a period there. Oh well. Any less and you'll fail. But keep in mind, there's no extra points for extra seconds. Finally, recover before you hit the cloud floor. Understood? Any questions?
The instructor paused and carefully glanced at every single pony in the room. Everyone's eyes were completely focused on him, and none were creased with confusion.
All right, Aurora Dawn, you're up first. Clear, fly, fall, complete.
I'm guessing this is like a self-insert character.
Hell yeah, bro. Aurora Dawn.
I love that. I like that a lot. Yeah, that's the author's name.
That reminds me of when I played Wizard 101 as a kid.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't that creative with the name. I don't remember if like I didn't realize I could go more in depth with it or what. But my name was Alex Dreamer. That feels a lot like
Aurora
Dawn.
Dawn. I love that. The yellow pony nodded and walked quickly up to the starting ramp with purpose. She stared at the watching judges, waited for a nod from all 3, and then took off with powerful force. The ramp bounced slightly from the force of the takeoff.
That's such a great visual.
Yeah.
Every pony watched as Aurora quickly reached the starting altitude, and then began a direct and purposeful attack on the position clouds. With expert timing and intelligent angles, the sky was soon empty of any moisture. Scootaloo and Orion watched with mouths open as they watched the first testy pull fast and tight turns, expertly shooting dead center through each and every hoop. Finally, Aurora pulled herself up to the proper altitude, hovered, and closed her wings.
The group of students gasped as she started plummeting down towards the clouds and counted breathlessly. 1, 2, 3. They sighed as they watched her wings open in the correct amount of time, collectively holding that relief.
Suddenly, Aurora's wings whipped upwards, and the group of students flinched in horror as they all heard the loud, hollow snap, only to suddenly be replaced by an unending, piercing scream. Many, like Orion, shielded their eyes with their wings, as others, like Scootaloo, could only watch, terrified, as the blur of yellow, green, and red plummeted into a cloud with a dull thump.
Wow, damn.
That's so well written.
Yeah,
I feel like
really.
this had to be someone older. This is like, if it's 14, that's like insanely impressive, and I hope they're writing books. That's really good. That's excellent.
Yeah. Suddenly Aurora's... Wait, sorry. My bad, that was your one. Wasting no time, the instructor walked forwards again as the 3 judges simply pointed down and started shuffling papers around. Speaking loudly, as if nothing had happened, he called out again.
Oh, sorry, that's me. Daisy Fields. Clear, fall, fly, complete. I got that a little out of order. You get it.
That's okay. Scootaloo and Orion stared slack-jawed as another pony gulped. I'm guessing that's supposed to say then, but it says then. Then walked forward onto the path and took off. They turned back to the tuft on the cloud where Aurora landed and stared. As the wind blew the fragments that were thrown up from the collision away, they saw the shivering yellow body attempt to move, only to collapse with a cry.
Faraday spots. Clear, fly, fall, complete.
Aurora still struggled to walk, wailing with each step. Her legs weren't broken. She could use them fine, but it was obvious the pain from her wing joints and the loss of her potential life was crushing her. Scootaloo felt Orion shuffle uneasily, tears welling in his eyes as a form frowned on his face.
Holiday shine. Clear, fly, fall, complete.
No one's coming to... Oh.
No one's coming to help her.
Orion seethed through closed teeth.
Scootaloo felt extremely sad for the Yellow Pegasus, but couldn't see herself helping her. She would be failed herself and sent away, far away from Cloudsdale and any familiar place on Equestria, to a place where she and any other failed students could never stain Cloudsdale's reputation. It was a terrible shame, but Scootaloo couldn't fail herself. She couldn't fail her friends, and she definitely couldn't fail Rainbow Dash. Not after the care and help she had given her Scootaloo's whole life. Scootaloo blinked the tears from her eyes and forced herself to watch the competing students. One after another took off, successfully passed the test, and flew to the east gate under the judge's spot on the stands. That's all Scootaloo was focused on. Pass the test, fly to the gate, live a happy life. Orion Solstice. Clear, fly, fall, complete. No. What?
The instructor took a step back, one leg raised in the air.
You can't just refuse your flight test. Get out there before you piss the judges off. No! Don't even pretend you care about my future if you don't care about hers!
Orion defied, unsure about himself.
You say you want me to get a good life, and yet you let those that fail suffer unbearable pain. Get the fuck onto that field before I fail you myself.
The instructor shouted menacingly.
Fine!
Orion spoke sharply before walking onto the ramp. He stared at the judges, waiting for the individual nods, and the second they came, he took off. However, long before the starting altitude, he turned sharply and landed gently next to Aurora. She turned to look at him, blood running down her forehead and side, and tears streamed down her face. What are you doing? You'll fail like me. You'll be exiled.
I'd rather be exiled from a place that treats ponies like this than live my entire life while others don't live theirs.
Aurora smiled, happiness briefly replacing her sadness and her blackened, puffy eyes, until she stumbled again, and intense pain flashed across her body. Orion leaned in close, using his wings to brace the yellow pony against himself. He stared up at the judges, beaming hate with his vision. They stared down, unaffected, and simply pointed down before looking back towards the ramp for the next contestant.
Scootaloo stood shocked, hardly hearing her name called. She moved numbly up the ramp, never taking her eyes off her friend and the pony he sacrificed himself to help. After a brief moment, she shook her head, recovered her thoughts, and looked to the judges. Thoughts passed through her head as she watched them all nod.
Oh, Celestia, what do I do? I can't let everyone I know down, but I'll never see Orion again. I suppose, I hope he knew that risk when he did that. I'm sure he's thinking the same thing right now.
She glanced at Orion. He wasn't looking at her. She took off, heartbroken. Instinct kicked in as the familiar rush of wind cooled her and blew her thoughts away. She stopped at the right altitude, then launched again, sensing and seeing every cloud, formulating a game plan. In a matter of a couple dozen seconds, the sky was clear. She did a quick loop mid-flight, aiming at the first hoop. With a powerful flash of her wings, she propelled forward through the first ring, and then the second, and then the third, expertly turning and drifting. She curved in towards the second-to-last ring, near the bottom of the field. As she descended, she caught the sight of Orion and Aurora, almost at the west gate now. Orion turned his head and smiled weakly.
Scootaloo's focus shattered. Orion knew what he did. He cared about her. He'd miss her, and he'd never get to say goodbye. Scootaloo cranked into the bottom part of the ring, falling backwards several feet and hitting the ground. With a sudden, intense flash of fear, she slipped herself onto her feet and began flapping her wings, levitating off the ground. Maybe that didn't count as a failure, she thought. I can still fly. There was a distraction on the field. She spun around to the judges.
3 hooves pointed down. Scootaloo started crying there, tears welling up and blurring her vision. This wasn't right. This shouldn't have happened. None of it. Orion should have passed his test and cheered her on from the east gate. She shouldn't have even looked at him. She should have focused on flying. But there wasn't room for excuses. Defeated, she slowly hovered towards Orion and settled down next to him. She looked at him through her purple eyes. He looked back, offering a smile. You did a good job.
Scootaloo dropped her head and sobbed. She then walked around Orion, lifted a wing of her own, and helped Aurora walk to the west gate. Before them stood a long, unlit hall with only a cheap sign stuck to the wall, notifying test failees to proceed down the hall. They waited, only briefly, to gather themselves and prepare for where they would be taken, and then all stepped forward together.
This is fucking excellent. Oh my god. This is so great.
Wow!
I feel like the pacing could have benefited from like maybe if a couple of ponies did well at the beginning.
Yeah.
And like it was just a little bit
Sure.
stretched out. It feels like event after event.
Sure.
But like outstanding. I this
really
is
like it, yeah.
this is crazy high level
Yeah.
for a fanfic of a kids TV show.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm glad we did. I'm glad I wasn't so
Yeah.
put off by cupcakes.
Yeah, look, I made you do that again, and here you are enjoying the story. You should
Yeah.
always listen to me.
I listened to you on cupcakes.
Too fair. Let's delve deeper into rainbow philosophy. Far beyond that of Cloudsdale's mythology, it's easy to misjudge that floating city with its alluring decor and social psychology.
Against an empty carriage at the end of the lonely hall were 3 imposing ponies, leaning in a disinterested and bored pose. One of them happened to look up as the sorry-looking trio stumbled out into the open. They were on the bottom edge of the Colosseum, with the vast rolling hills and plains of Equestria visible far below. "Hey boss, we got some of them worthless Pegasuses."
The first one called to an even bigger pony on the other side of the carriage.
"I suppose it's get to work time, is it?"
Cool it, hotshot. There may be more too. No, I was the last student to go.
Scootaloo spoke in sobs. Orion could only hang his head.
It's
She paused and then breathed deeply, determined to remain as strong as she could.
It's just us 3. Aurora's wings, they're broken. She needs help.
"Ain't that just a crying shame, it is. What's it to us? All the better she didn't come flying back to us no more.
We may have failed our damn test, but that doesn't mean we're not worth keeping alive.
Scootaloo shouted in a flash of rage. She was determined to hold on to as much dignity as she could. All right, sheesh, hey, Patches. Doctor her up before we get out. I don't want any blood on them seats. I just washed that thing. You other two in the cart.
Orion and Scootaloo hopped into the carriage and got as comfortable as they could on the hard seats, but made sure to leave room for Aurora. As soon as the third of the large ponies finished bandaging her wings, Aurora carefully stepped onto the vehicle and lay down on the bench at the back. Scootaloo inched closer to her and leaned down to talk as the door of the carriage slammed shut. The boss pony was inside the back, standing by the door, watching each of them. So...
Scootaloo began quietly, trying not to speak too loud.
You're Aurora? I'm Scootaloo. I'm sorry we had to meet like this. Any meeting of a friend is a welcome meeting.
Aurora spoke gently, with sincerity in her eyes.
We did our best. That's all we can say. That's all any of us can say. Who's to say that the city of the deported isn't a good one anyways?
The thought struck Scootaloo as she considered it. No one has ever told her where the Pegasi were brought. Most ponies consider it to be some odd land, like where the zebras hailed from. That made Scootaloo realize something even more profound.
Hey, if we were taken as where Zakora's from, then there's got to be a way to get back. It's not as if we're banned from Equestria. Fluttershy, an old friend of mine, she's a Pegasus who lives in Ponyville. She never passed flight school and never took her tests. They've never come and taken her away. Exactly.
Aurora agreed with a nod. Orion overheard and offered his thoughts. I think the reason we're sent far away is because no pony from Cloudsdale ever wants to admit that someone who failed flight school could come from their city. What a fucking horrible place now that I think of it. I never want to go back.
Maybe that's why no Pegasus ever comes back. They just don't like Cloudsdale. You goddamn worthless ponies can hardly call yourself Pegasus. Boss spoke from the door. He was swaying ever so slightly as the carriage was lifted and moved to an unknown location. Useless failures is what you are. No pony comes back from exile regardless of the reason. Can't even pass your goddamn test. You three make me sick.
Scootaloo jumped up from her seat, lifted herself into the air with her wings, and dove legs first at the boss.
You shut the hell up about us. You have no right to treat others like this.
Boss raised a hoof and backhanded Scootaloo out of the air onto the floor.
I can treat you however I want. You hardly classify as ponies to Cloudsdale or any of Equestria for that matter. Now sit the fuck down and shut up until you get to your destination. What are you laughing at?
There's just a funny juxtaposition between like the goofy innocent dialogue of the main three ponies and everyone else, but then also they'll kind of flip back and forth, like they'll say fuck,
I get that.
and they'll say like they'll talk about like this regime in a really real way.
Sure.
I don't know, it's a little contradictory.
This is you.
Oh, right. Where are we being taken anyways? Not like we can tell anyone now, and I'm sure as the deliverers, you guys know.
Orion cautiously reasoned. Hell if I know. We hand this carriage off to ponies in suits, and we get a bag full of coins to keep quiet about the whole thing. It's how it's always been, for 1,000 years.
The three fillies huddled together again, scared of the unknown. They kept quiet as they waded through the unbearable trip, all lost in their own thoughts. Friends, family, loved ones, and pets. All will never see them again. And some would never find out why. An hour passed, then another. Finally, the uncomfortable quiet was broken by a sudden lurch as the carriage stopped in its flight.
Ah, Boss smiled. There's my stop. You ponies play nice now. Have fun in whatever the hell you're sent to. The carriage door shuffled open, and Boss hopped out with a gust of cold wind. It was night now, with hardly any light to see at all. Scootaloo stared outside and noticed another figure staring in. It was dressed in a black suit, its tail dyed an unusual black that never occurred in nature. Its face was covered by a dark, loose-fitting mask, concealing its mane. All that was visible were rose-coloured eyes staring indifferently at the three ponies inside. They stopped on Scootaloo momentarily, unrecognising, but she stared back. A second passed. The dark pony slammed the door shut, and the carriage took off once again. "At least we can talk now," Aurora whispered in the dark. But they had nothing to talk about.
But with all great things comes a great responsibility, that of Cloudsdale's being weather stability.
The carriage finally shuddered to a stop. The three desolate foes blinked their eyes awake, having all resolved to conserve energy for whatever came next. With a loud, scraping noise, the doors shook and then swung wide open. Several more ponies, obscured by masts and soot, were moving around the area. Scootaloo blinked against the light from what she was seeing.
They were in a cloud building. As her eyes adjusted, she noticed more details. Several of the blackened ponies were rushing about, some holding clipboards, some carrying briefcases and other important-looking items on their backs. The complex was full of machinery and signs. Pipes ran along the ceiling, and a loud whir ran in the background, occasionally joined with other industrial sounds such as crashes and alarms. Scootaloo gasped.
"This place, the architecture, it's all so familiar. I think we're in the weather factory."
Orion frowned. That can't be right. We were traveling for way too long. We've got to be far away from Equestria now, not to mention the city.
"Actually, Scootaloo may be right," Aurora mused. "I noticed it was maybe the same amount of time for when we left the Colosseum to the place the carriage driver swapped. That it was from a swap place to here. But I don't know. I'm confused. Maybe that's just a coincidence."
"Welcome, mules,"
a large and powerful voice commanded. Several of the suited ponies made to make way for a deep, dark red Pegasus dressed in a white lab coat.
"You degenerates are probably wondering where exactly you are, stupid fillies. You're in Cloudsdale, the Rainbow Factory to be correct. Allow me to show you around."
"What's going on here? Do you expect to use us as slaves? Because I'd rather be deported, thanks."
Scootaloo yelled. Orion and Aurora got off their seats and stood behind Scootaloo, nodding in agreement.
"Like you failures have a choice. You'll be here for the rest of your lives. Oh, I'm sorry. Where are my manners? I'm Dr. Atmosphere. My degree isn't a medical one, I shall reassure you, in case you were picturing some dreadful surgery going on behind the scenes. Strange how so many worthless Pegasi get that idea. No, my degree is in engineering. I'm one of the 4 colts in this facility. I'm sure you've all had the tour of the lower factory. No?
I think in case you're picturing some dreadful surgery going on behind the scenes, I think that's a reference to cupcakes.
Is it?
I think so.
Oh, that's great.
I think that's a reference to cupcakes.
So this one did come after.
Yeah.
We did it in the
I know.
right
I
order.
know. I know this one came after.
Oh, awesome.
The 3 ponies nodded slowly, unsure of what was going on.
Excellent. Who can tell me where the tour begins?
Orion spoke up first. Where the spectre comes from, upstairs, and is mixed.
Very good. What a pity you're utterly useless to the flock. You could have been a smart one.
Dr. Atmosphere smiled sadistically and patted Orion on the head.
But today we're on the upper floor. Please follow me and don't get too far behind, or one of the helpers will be forced to encourage you.
With that, he winked at the suited ponies. With nods, 3 of them at the rear leaned forwards and jabbed each of the Pegasus with tasers, shocking them to the ground. Dr. Atmosphere whinnied in laughter as they all yelped and fell, and continued into a soft chuckle as they all stood up again.
Scootaloo blinked more tears from her eyes and shook herself again, trying to lose the tingling in her nerves. She turned and quickly looked at each of the suited ponies, catching each of them in the eye when she could. None of them were the rose-eyed pony from the carriage. Begrudgingly, she started walking behind the red engineer.
You simply must be careful in this department.
Dr. Atmosphere began in a tone not unlike many tour guides in the lower floors.
There's plenty of nooks and crannies and vents and vats one could fall into. One must be careful not to hurt themselves. After all, you're hopeless as it is. Any more so and we couldn't use you.
He glanced behind himself maliciously as the 3 foes frowned in insult. They were walking down a series of halls with vibrating machines and assembly lines lining the way, occasionally ducking under low-hanging wires or carefully stepping over steaming pipes. As they walked, though, the building became cooler and cooler. All three were watching, sensing, looking for any way out, but they couldn't see any.
Now let me tell you a story. Cloudsdale is where the weather is made. Without us, the rest of Equestria would starve, freeze, drown, and generally not be a very happy place. That gives us one special honor, one that can't be tainted by, incompetent foals like you. How could the world look up at us and trust us if Pegasi like you were flying around wearing the Cloudsdale name? No, we needed to do something with all of you. And then we got a delicious idea, one day over 1,000 years ago. Those were some smart ponies back then, I'll say. You don't find too many of them these days, but I digress. Ha. Did you like that laugh?
I love that.
Here now, through these doors, quickly now, before more encouragement is supplied.
Dr. Atmosphere opened a heavy-looking door in a cramped corridor and offered a hoof inside. Scootaloo stared up at him. He glanced at a suited pony. Scootaloo and the others walked inside as he laughed again.
Enjoy the rest of your pitiful life.
And with that, he slammed the door closed. They all turned and looked at the big room they had been led to. It was fairly open and empty, almost like a theatre room. At one end of the room, there was 6 square vats, each one nearly full with individual spectra. Above them was a peculiar-looking machine. From a central stack, 6 hoses broke off and led above each of the individual vats. At the top of the stack was a single opening, red with rust despite the rest of the machine looking to be shiny and clean. Even further above that was a fairly complex-looking object, with chains and gears hanging off the beams and pipes loosely. Running even higher than the whole machine was a length of scaffolding, with doors on each side leading out of the room. Down on the floor, a small collection of defeated, crying ponies sat, chatting quietly. Those suits there, those are from that other flight school across town.
Aurora informed, sounding shocked.
And those ponies sitting over there, see? I remember a trip we went on once with Levitating Acres Private School. I remember them from that trip.
So, this is where the failures go? Not deported, but forced to work forever? Orion sobbed quietly. In exchanging for helping someone, he had doomed himself and his good friend to a life of servitude. Scootaloo reached a reassuring wing over and lifted his chin. She smiled at him, understanding his depression.
At least we don't have to go through it alone,
she cooed softly. Suddenly, there was a commotion in the group of ex-students. One pony from an unidentified school took off, headed towards one of the doors on the scaffolding. Immediately, 2 suited ponies launched at record speed and both clipped the flyaway with their tasers. The pony spasmed in the air and then dropped like a stone, with an audible crack as he landed and a violent burst of twitching. All the other ponies walked back, staring horrified at their friend. They watched, hopefully, for a long time. He didn't move.
Some cried softly. Most others turned away, too far confused to feel any emotions. I guess that option's out, Aurora said quietly to no one in particular.
But you can't fly right now anyways, Orion questioned.
That medic guy, Patches or whatever he was called, he potted my wings back into their joints and bandaged up where my skin tore. I won't be winning any races, but I can fly again.
They slowly walked forwards and joined the group of ponies, looking at each other with understanding sorrow.
I'd front and centre you inept mules, one of the suited ponies shouted. After the previous display, no one challenged that order and stared at the scaffolding, just as one of the doors opened.
Dun dun dun.
Wow.
And with that, everybody, we're ending part 1.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, it's a 2-parter. Did you know that?
Surprise 2-parter.
Surprise 2-parter, except for the title where it says part 1 probably.
Oh. Never mind. All you guys were aware. We just weren't.
It's a surprise 2-parter,
Wow.
everybody. Tune in next time for part 2 of Rainbow Factory. This has been
I really
excellent
love
so
this.
far.
This is really good.
This is really fantastic.
That's honestly might be one of my most favorite stories I've read in this, like, the entire show.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of quality, like, I was
It's
so
excellent.
shocked.
Yeah, it's pretty consistent.
I
too.
really wasn't, like, I know I'd read this before, and I remember exactly what happens at the end, but I never remembered it being as well written as this. This is so weird.
No, this is fantastic. I really like it. I'm excited to read more in part 2. Part 2, everybody.
God,
Tune in for
part
part
2.
2. When will it come out? We don't know. We don't have a schedule. Who knows? You gotta subscribe. You gotta hit the
Soon.
bell. You gotta do all the
no.
YouTube things. Everybody subscribe to our channel. That is not infringing on any copyright.
No.
No trademarks. No copyright. We are completely legally in the clear, no matter what a certain fucking lawyer likes to tell me. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Love you so much. From
Do you love
from
them?
CreepCast. We love you. I love each and
my
every one of you.
God. I don't.
Especially you, Steve. I fucking love you,
Oh my
man.
God.
You're a good friend. You're a good buddy. I love you.
Wow.